So we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Rebecca Prince-Ruiz, and I'm the founder of Plastic Free July and the Executive Director of the Plastic Free Foundation. Hello to, sorry, I missed your name, from Hong Kong and somebody from the US. I don't know if we've got people getting up in the middle of the night. Today we're going to share with you, really excited to be sharing with you our plans for Plastic Free July. And I'm going to start by acknowledging that I'm talking to you today from Whadjuk Noongar Boodja in Western Australia, and would like to pay my respects and acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So Plastic Free July 2023, I feel this every single year, but this year with a greater sense of urgency that the challenge is more important than ever. We all know that plastic pollution is an growing problem. We know that plastic production is increasing. And as world leaders at the end of this month in Paris to continue negotiating the Global Plastics Treaty, as a foundation whose mission is to end plastic waste, we are very motivated by what we have seen over the last 12 years, which is lots of people making small changes at the same time, that this groundswell of community change puts pressure on business and government, and that changing culture is a really critical part of the wider systemic change that we need. So I'm going to share with you over the next 20 minutes or so a little bit of the impact of Plastic Free July, and then what our theme is this year, and then also a creative and exciting new way that we're planning on sharing the challenge and co-creating a global call to action. And it's just fantastic to see people from so many different countries here today participating in the call, because Plastic Free July is really a global social movement, and I think we have a real opportunity this year to amplify the message of waste avoidance and that reduce message, which is more important than ever. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. We'll put a link to this I will send you a link in an email afterwards. Izzy, if you can, just because I can see you can just give me a heads up that you can see my screen. Great, thank you very much. So last year, 140 million people around the world from over 190 countries took part in Plastic Free July, and it is a global, truly a global social movement. And our theme for this year is small steps, big difference, and that narrative of amplifying the changes and the different choices and solutions that people have around the world is going to be even more important than ever. And so, sorry, I don't seem to be able to go forward in my slides. So the theme, as I said, is small steps, big difference. And if you're on this call, you know that about the plastic pollution problem and you're concerned about it. If you've just joined the call, please just put in the chat your name and where you're from in the world, and if you're associated with an organisation as well, that'd be great. And so what we've seen over the last decade is that through empowering individuals and helping people through sharing solutions and sharing stories of change from around the world, that it has a ripple effect, and other people start to join in. And as we share those positive stories of solutions and impact, that builds a groundswell of community action. And for Plastic Free July, every our focus is, but we're motivated by the problem, we always focus on solutions, on being the solution and sharing the solutions, and it's about action. The name is somewhat problematic because some people think, oh, you have to be perfect, you have to be plastic free. And as anyone who's tried this knows, that's a challenge. But this isn't about being perfect. It's about doing what you can where you live, with what your circumstances are, and sharing it with others. And you know, so much of what we see about plastic pollution, and with this year World Environment Day, the theme is Beat Plastic Pollution. These are the images that we share, that are shared, and no one's okay with this. We know from public research that there's very high levels of public support, public concern and public awareness about this problem. And yes, cleanups are important. Yes, recycling is important, but the most important thing that we can do to tackle this problem is, yes, the treaty is important, single-use plastic bans are important, but we don't have to wait from that. We can start today by making small steps in our environment. And so we're about switching the narrative and switching the public story from the problem to solutions. And these are just some of the images of people around the world taking part in Plastic Free July as they're shopping in their schools, in their workplaces, in their communities. And it's these stories that inspire others. We just recently shared a story on our website last week about some local nurses and healthcare workers at Fiona Stanley Hospital, and when they took part in Plastic Free July last year, the challenge they set about was reducing the number of these items called blueies, and they're a plastic absorbent bed pad, of which they use hundreds of thousands in the hospital each year. And they ran a behaviour change campaign called Think Before You Bluey, and we shared that story on our website and through our comms about how they did that. They, instead of putting them in rooms when a patient left, they couldn't be used by other patients, even if they were just sitting in a box on the shelf. So they stopped doing that, and they had a number of innovative ways that they started to change behaviour, reduced where they could, and they reduced 75,000 of these items in just 9 months. And since then, we've had hospitals all over the world contact us and say, can you put us in touch with that hospital in Perth, because we want to actually tackle this in our hospital. And it's a challenge avoiding single-use plastics, but the more we work together, I think, and the more we connect and collaborate and share our ideas, share our solutions, share our challenges as well, and help support each other, the more of a difference that we can make. And one of the links that we'll send you after the webinar is want to share your stories, because sharing those stories is the way that change can happen. So as I said, last year, 140 million people took part in Plastic Free July. And we know through our research that we have a survey tool, which is also a behaviour change tool, called the Pesky Plastics Quiz. And again, we'll send you that link afterwards. It's a really important research tool for us. And we ask people to take it before July, and then we ask them to repeat it again in September. So that's how we know we've got, we can track behaviours, we can see what are people doing, and what are they having more challenges with, and what should we be tackling next. So we know from that even though the challenge is Plastic Free July, we know that the majority of our participants, 88%, make one or more changes that become habits or a way of life. And we know that they are avoiding waste. So last year, participants together avoided 300 million kilos of plastics and 2.6 million tonnes of waste. So in the Pesky Plastics Quiz, we're asking people which type of bins you have, how often are they collected, and how full they are. We also have some really interesting research which shows we ask people questions about their sense of well-being and connectedness to the community. And we know through that research that people who take part have a higher sense of well-being and feel more connected to their communities compared with non-participants. And I was at a talk last week in Melbourne with where Professor Norman Swan talked about this idea of locus of control, and how when you feel like things are out of your control, that your stress levels go up, whereas if you take control by taking action and by doing something that you feel strongly about and that you care about, and that you do it with others and you're able to have those conversations, that it actually lowers our stress levels. So I was very interested to hear of that research. So again, we'll share these links with you after the website. So the main thing that we'll want to share with you today is our idea for the video campaign, which is the core of the creative that we'll be preparing this year. And we'd love all of you to take part in that. We also just encourage people to sign up. So this is just the homepage of our website, because, and you'll see on the top right corner, sorry, I just seem to have lost my slides for a minute. So on the top right-hand corner of the website is our the Take the Challenge button, and through getting people to formally sign up, and we don't hold people to it. I always say it's a challenge. It's not a competition. But through asking people to sign up and take the challenge formally and to do the Pesky Plastics quiz, then we start to collect that data and measure the global impacts, and then we're able to share that information with governments and start to progress that agenda of action on plastic waste, because we also ask a number of policy questions in that story. So these are our kind of 4 things that we would like to encourage you all to do after this event. So take part in the video, just sign up. We're also going to talk a little bit at the end about events, and there is a map on the website that where people can post their events. And I know there's people from not-for-profits, from local government and community groups on this website, on this webinar today. So with all of those, if you're having an event that is open to the public, we'd love you to share that on there, because people are always coming to us looking for like-minded people or events in their community. And as I said before, please share your story. It is a really important time. So the campaign video that I'm going to share with you in a moment, we're hoping to crowdsource content in May. The next round of the Global Plastics Treaties negotiations take part in Paris at the end of, actually that should be 29th of May, sorry, 29th of May to the 2nd of June. World Environment Day, which is the global awareness raising day run out of the United Nations Environment Programme, is on the 5th of June, and the theme there is solutions to plastic pollution. And the culmination of our campaign and this video and comms effort is this Global Day of Action on the 1st of July. So the campaign video that I'm going to share with you now, and then can take questions on, because we'd also we're keen today to hear from you about your plans for Plastic-Free July, or what the issues are that are of concern to you, or what you're working on. So our small steps, big difference theme is wanting to share ideas from people around the world who are taking their small step in their community to reduce plastic waste. So whether it's taking reusables with you when you go shopping, whether it's taking a step with other people in your workplace or at your school or community group. And we will then put that together to show the way that people around the world are all taking action at the same time. So flipping plastic pollution issue from just being about the problem to being about solutions. So we're inviting people to join in by grabbing their camera, grabbing their phone. And the idea is that this should be fun and it should be as natural as ever posing for a video ever is, and to get creative, because the plastics that I have in my life and the solutions that are available for me might be different to, I'm just looking at you, Sharon, from Boyup Brook, which was in Western Australia. It's different again from somebody living in New Delhi, someone living in Hong Kong. So we want to be sharing solutions. So the idea is that if you've got a smartphone, if you've got a camera, this is something that you can do in just 10 minutes. And we'll pop there's a guide. Don't worry about taking down any of these details now, because this is all set up on our website, and we'll share that link with you at the end of the webinar. So the idea is it's just a 10-minute activity, and we take 3 videos. So the first video that we're looking at is a wide angle shot showing either you or the person that you're filming where you are in the world. And then the second shot is about you or about the person or the group, and we'll show you an example of a group in the middle. So what we're wanting to show is people's actual item that they're using to reduce single-use plastics, to reduce plastic waste. So where the ask is for people to say who they are, where they are, and why they're taking the step. And there are so many different reasons that people are taking this step. For some people, it's motivated by the environment. For some people, they're motivated by the social justice issues about the communities that are affected by plastic production and consumption. For some people, and a growing number of people, it's the human health impacts of the microplastics and the myriad of other chemicals that are in in plastic products. And so they're just the three simple things we're asking people to say. And we're also encouraging people to speak it in whatever language they're comfortable in speaking as well, because this is a global movement. And so then the third item is, or the third video that we're asking people to take is actually a physical step to show their item. So we have lots of people from around the world in different contexts with different items. They're all taking a step. And when you add those steps together, that's the big difference that it makes. So we're encouraging you to have fun, do whatever feels naturally to you to take your step, whether it's a step, whether it's a leap, a kick, or a dance, if you want to get really creative. So we've got some examples here. So this one is Kieran from Valais in Switzerland. So here he is, he's out hiking. And so he's the 3 questions: who he is, where he is, and why he's taking the step. And it could be, if you're taking that video of yourself, it could be as literal as just pointing it down and taking that step, that literal step that you're taking. If you're videoing somebody else, it could be that step into the distance, or that step forward, or that step up a flight of stairs to a cafe. Another example here is of a group, how it could be done in a group. if you know the nurses at the hospital, for example, they obviously can't do this with their patients or in an operating theatre, but they're going to do it with their uniforms on in the staff room, for example. So we know that around the world, a lot of people do it in their workplace. We've had groups of police, teachers, people from hospitals, so many different businesses. Your step might be, there's a number of organisations on the call that are from hosting cleanups. It could be all taking a step to take 3 pieces of litter, or everybody can be holding something, or just one person can be holding something, whatever's natural and what works for you. So in this example, it's in a classroom. They're Crosstown Elementary, they're from Toronto in Canada, and they're taking a step for their school. It can be one person saying it, it can be a group of people saying it. And then the third shot that we're sharing is the actual literal step. So there is a guide for how to do this on our website. So the ask today is, or the invitation for today is for people to contribute, or you're also welcome to share this in your community and invite any local community champions that you might know of, or other interested organisations. So, and there's a Google form there to upload it, but also instructions of, if you don't have access to a Google account, there's other ways we can share with you that you can upload your 3 videos. And as I said before, there's a campaign guide there to include that. So what's next? So after the end of this month, we're going to collect all of those videos and start weaving together a story of millions of people around the world coming together and making a difference. And that's going to be the feature of our campaign, and we will be sharing that widely and with all of you and with people who have made a contribution. And then the idea is, from there, we also share not just the video, which is the global campaign, but also just snippets as well. And we're really wanting to connect and collaborate so that I think together we're much stronger as a whole than just the sum of our parts. So part of what we're wanting to do is to share what you're doing as well in your communities. So that's a thanks from all of us here. It's as I said before, it's not an easy challenge, but we're really hoping this year that, rather than what we normally do, which is we hear all these amazing stories of what people around the world are doing during Plastic Free July, and then we do our research in September, and then we share that as an impact report in in October. We're trying to flip this so that that month of the 1st of July, that date of the 1st of July, becomes the time when we're not just sharing the video, but the video then becomes an invitation for everyone in the world to take action. So then on the 1st of July, that inspires more people around the world to post a photo of themselves and take their own single step. So all of these resources, as I said, are going to be on the website. And Izzy, I don't know if you or Erin, putting you on the spot here, just want to add anything else about the video before I just say a few last words and we open it to questions.
I think you've explained it really well, but what we're really after is to show everybody's action, so everybody around the world is doing something, and we just want to visualize that in one video and bring it together and show people, look, you're not alone. You're not just you doing a little change. Yes, everybody around the world is doing something. And yeah, we're hoping to visualize that in the video. And really nice also if we can see everybody's location, and also if you're, let's say, you could wear your work uniform, you could wear if you're a construction worker, your high vis, or if you've got a traditional outfit, you could wear that. You could speak in your own language. So we really show the diversity of the people doing Plastic Free July around the world.
Great. Thanks very much for that, Isabel. And I'm now just going to hand over. I've been asking people to put their put your name, put where you're from into the chat, and I haven't, because I've been talking, haven't been able to see everybody who's done that. But please keep putting your names in there, and we're just going to hand over I'll hand it over to you, and just invite people to share the work that they're doing. One of the other things that we just wanted to share with you just briefly before I just hand over and get you to invite people to share what they're doing is to just quickly show you those pages on the website. So I just quickly flick back to the home page. So under Get Involved, the Small Steps, Big Difference, all of those resources are there. And you can also see the event map in there as well. So there's not a lot of events in there at the moment because we're only in May, but as the time gets closer, there'll be much more events happening in there. The other things that I've pointed out in this website are the what others do stories. So I've shared the story of the hospitals in there. We've got what a library in Japan did, what Arifa and her team at University of New South Wales did to tackle plastics in their dining areas, and so on. So that's really important. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is, I mentioned earlier about the different drivers and the motivations that people have. So some of it being, some people being motivated by the plastic pollution issue, others are motivated by social justice, and increasingly people being motivated by the health issue. And in our blogs and throughout our communications, we're going to be sharing more of this emerging body of research on the plastics as a human health issue through our partnership with Minderoo Foundation. So we'll also send a link to that information that we've started sharing through there. So I've